expand their BFSI revenues in the coming few days. Back to you.
Rima, we don't know, this is spread over what years, right? Because, I mean, you know, when analysts pencil this order in, at this stage, we don't know. This is over how many years?
As I said, the tenure of the deal is not yet very clear right now.
All right, Rima, thanks very much for that. Appreciate you joining in with that perspective. I think we have the management of Deepak Fertilizers joining in. They reported a good set of earnings in both the chemicals and the fertilizer segment. Profit has jumped 40% this quarter for the company. On the margin front, while there is a contraction in third quarter owing to higher expenses, the 9-month figure is still up 500 basis points. We have Amita Bhargava, Chief Financial Officer of Deepak Fertilizers, joining in to take some questions. Mr. Bhargava, thanks very much. Great to have you with us here on the program. Could you tell us what would you say that demand is looking better, right, in the chemicals business, January onwards? Could you tell us what would this mean in terms of growth in top line, growth in earnings? Will the fourth quarter be significantly better than the third quarter?
Well, what we saw in the third quarter was certain weakness or delay in demand coming from infra and non-coal segment in TAN. Acid remained, the demand was stable in Q3. But as you know, Q4, both for TAN and acid, Q4 is the peak quarter as the mining as well as infrastructure demand picks up. So we expect that the weakness that we saw in Q3, we would overcome that from a demand perspective. Acid, like I said, it continues to, because most of our customers are now competing well in the export market. So I think the demand there remains as we saw in Q3 as well.
Sorry, I didn't get that. So you're saying that the weakness that you saw in Q3 in terms of demand, that is now behind you and you're expecting demand to pick up, right, in FY24? If yes, what is the average ballpark growth that you'd be looking at?
Well, it's difficult to put a number to it, but what I would stress on is a couple of fundamental factors. One is that we've debottlenecked our TAN capacity by 45,000 ton in this year, and we are going to do it by another 45,000 next year. So that is going to add to the the top line as well as bottom line. In fertilizer segment, our capacity utilizations were about some 60-65% because the raw material availability was a challenge, and also I think the raw material prices were high. So we are expecting a much better capacity utilization and sales in fertilizer segment. And in acid, I think the demand continues to remain firm coming from nitroaromatic segment. So I think if at all our capacity utilizations are better in FY24, then we are going to see additional volumes and margins kicking in from acid segment.
So can you give us an estimate of what the top line, the addition to the top line could look like because of the debottlenecking of the TAN capacity?
So it's going to add roughly about another 15 to 20% sales numbers in terms of volumes as far as TAN is concerned. Very difficult to put a number from the point of view that the finished good as well as raw material prices could change from here, either upwards or downwards, and our revenues besides volume are also dependent on what happens to these commodities. So we would rather sort of focus in terms of the volumes, and that's where I said 15-20% increase in volume in TAN segment is possible from here.
Okay, all right. Hi, good morning, Mr. Bhargava. If you could tell us, recently you announced that you'll be buying natural gas from Gujarat State Petroleum Corporation for 3 years, effective from May 1st, 2023. Could you tell us if this, have you locked a rate out here? Will this pricing will fluctuate? How much lower will it? I mean, what could be the incremental benefit Deepak Fertilizers gets? And what if international prices or prices fall? Will you get that benefit also?
Yeah, so see, this is about 40% of our requirement, which is our new ammonia plant would start operations from mid-May. Now, this particular price contract with GSPC is linked with Brent prices. So depending on what happens to Brent upside or downside, the price would vary. But the balance 60% of our gas is still to be tied up, and that's where we are significantly relying on the domestic auctions that are going to come up from KG Basin, both ONGC and Reliance. And there, the effect of international prices going up or down would reflect in the prices, ceiling price that government has fixed for HPHT gas. So it's a weighted average of the two, but this particular contract of GSPC is, like I said, is linked with Brent prices.
Okay. Can you tell us what is the debt on the books of the company right now? What's the absolute figure? And will you be adding to your debt since you have a lot of capex lined up as well?
So we have a gross debt of about 3,500 crore, but net debt is somewhere around 1,990 odd crores. We were sitting on almost 1,500 plus crores of cash. So from a net debt perspective, we are fairly in control. Our net worth is almost close to 4,900 odd crores by end of December. So debt equity, if you look at net debt to equity, is less than 0.5%. And yes, we are going to add debt, but as far as ammonia is concerned, we are almost at the fag end of completion. So it's not going to add a substantial debt, only marginal debt. TAN project, Gopalpur project, is going to add about 1,500 odd crores of debt. But like I said, it also depends on if we continue to generate the cash that we are, then maybe we'll not draw that entire debt. And from a net debt perspective, post ammonia commissioning, we may even want to start repaying some of the ammonia debt even before TAN debt adds up to our balance sheet.
All right. What is the peak net debt level then we should be looking at, Ms. Bhargava, if you could tell us that? And also, is there any update on the demerger? The last time you all joined us, you all were talking about unlocking some value in a couple of segments, maybe get in a partner as well. Peak debt, and what are the updates on this unlocking value? Go ahead.
Like I said, from current 3,500 crore, largely we are going to add debt in the TAN project, which is about 1,500 odd crores. But if you look at net debt perspective, I think we would probably, in foreseeable future, we are not looking to cross 3,500 odd crores. As far as your restructuring or our demerger is concerned,
yes.
we are, I think this is the NCLT process that will go on maybe for another 6 to 8 months before it gets completed. Now, idea of separating these two businesses is also to have renewed focus as we are doing more and more, customer focus or differentiation in both these segments. It would allow us, thus far, we were, even if there were interest from strategic investors, they were not necessarily interested in both these businesses together. Now, separating them would allow us to have, to onboard some of the strategic investors in each of these segments. And in long term, we could even go public and raise, public capital on both these businesses.
Okay, all right. We will let you go on that note. Thanks a lot for stopping by and speaking to CNBC TV 18. So that is Deepak Fertilizer. They have a big debottlenecking plan for their TAN